Alright, Pokemon Blue Rescue Team. Probably should say the full title, but I'm just sticking with that. In the beginning of the game, you take this quiz. The quiz questions are random, and not everyone's going to have the same questions. They're just like, oh, if you were in this situation, how would you respond? And it has some preset questions. They're always going to be the same kind of questions, but one, the orders will be changed. Questions aren't like, oh, depending on this time of year, this time of day, it's going to be like super specific. The questions are very generic, and so are the answers, but they're really just trying to get a feel of how you would respond. After about, I want to say 10 questions, because it's on the DS, they have you put your finger onto the touchscreen. About 5-6 seconds, depending on how well your touchscreen is. If it's not like messed up or something, it'll say, okay, you can remove your finger. Based on such and such that we got through your questions, we think you're the cool type, level-headed, whatever. And as such, we think you'd make a good, off the top of my head, I'm just thinking Squirtle. And because if you became a Squirtle, if you decide you don't want to be a Squirtle, you gotta answer all those questions again. They're gonna be different this time. You touch your finger to the screen. I haven't played all the way through Red Rescue Team yet, but I have gone through the questions, and you have to hold a button down instead, because there's no touchscreen on Game Boy Advance. Even if you play it on a DS, it only uses one screen, and it's only meant for Game Boy Advance, even if you use the screen on the lower half of the DS. It's still gonna be like, yeah, hold this button down. But, hey, the sound font for both games, very good. May not be like, oh, over the top orchestral score. They use what they got, it's incredible. Once you're given your Pokemon, whether it's a grass type, a fire type, or water type, or one of the, I'm going to call them special, like Pikachu or Meowth or whatever, you will not be able to pick from that same type. And I think you may not be able to get from that same generation either. It only goes up to Gen 3. That was all that was out at that point in time. Oh, and depending on some certain things you do in the game, and they're very special things, you could see some Gen 4 Pokemon appear. Like Munchlax, Lucario, Bonsly, and I think a Mime Jr. or something like that. I don't remember. I didn't get everything. But yeah. And once you start the game with your Pokemon you have wanted to be, And depending on what Pokemon you're wanting to start off as, it may take you a while. Whatever you named it will wake up in this forest clearing. The one you decided to be your partner will walk in, see you laying on the ground, and come rushing over to you to make sure you're okay. Once it sees you're okay, it's like, okay, phew, you're alright. Your character will not, physically speaking, will be talking to the partner, just like, hey, what's going on? I'm surprised you can actually speak. Pokemon can't talk. And your partner will be responding even though you never saw any words come out. And yes, this is all text-based. There's no voice acting. So whatever you had picked for partner will respond, huh, you're acting kind of weird for whatever Pokemon you are. Your character will respond, I'm not that Pokemon. Then your partner will respond, you are, basically. Then your character looks around, sees they are that Pokemon. I guess they were just checking that they were that Pokemon, I guess. It's early sprite animation, it's not going to be the best. It's not like what people pull off nowadays in with sprite animation where it's like, whoa, they can do this? Where they can twist the sprite and make a bunch of animation movements with it. I don't know. This was like, I want to say early 2010s. I think it was like early 2010s. If I'm wrong, someone's going to look it up, put it in the comments and say, actually it was this year. I don't care. I don't care enough to look it up. I just know I really want to be more detailed about these. And depending on when this actually goes up, I have no clue because when chugging up next week on Monday. This is Saturday right now, after 4th of July. And there's some thunder. Hopefully power don't go out and make this go even longer. If it does, I will keep you all updated. But anyways, I'm rambling and I'm getting way off topic. Let's get back on topic. A Butterfree comes along, alerts you and your partner, hey, my child fell in this ravine. Your partner's like, we gotta go help. You're like, I don't know. Should we? After a bit of convincing, and depending on how long you say no, you could go on for hours if you wanted to. You both set off. Just saying no does not, end the game right there. I wish it did. That'd be a funny way to end the game early. It's just like, game's barely started. You haven't even done anything. You ready to go save this child? No. Really? You're gonna act like this? You ready to go save this child? No. Really? You're gonna act like this? And it just goes on for a minute or so. Are you ready to go save this child? If we don't, the world is doomed or something. The world's already in chaos. If we don't save this child, nothing's gonna happen. No. I guess this is the end of the game. Okay, bye. Your journey never begins, or something. No, it's just a constant loop. You go off, you basically go through a tutorial about dungeons and all the items that can be found in there. You got your basic Pokemon items like orange berries, different kinds of seeds that can help, like stun seeds, revive seeds. If you get knocked out, you get brought back in the dungeon, but then they become plain seeds, which do absolutely nothing. Apples, which can fill your belly up some. When you're in a dungeon, your belly goes down as you move. You can hold B button down to go even faster. But that uses up a lot of belly too. Once your belly's empty and you start moving, you slowly take damage. And I mean like 1 HP down at a time. Staying in a dungeon too long, mysterious wind or whatever comes blowing through. Unless you move to the next floor, you get blown out and you lose some items that you were carrying with you. I'm just telling you all this now, so if you ever do decide to play the game, you can be careful. Pokemon can be recruited as friends. You learn that after a few dungeons. After helping Magnemite that got stuck. It wants to join your team. And even if you say no later on when Wigglytuff opens up its shop, it'll come back and be like, hey, I can join your team now. Because before, even if you said yes, there was no actual place for it to go. But hey, now it's got a place to go. Yeah, that first area you start off in, no matter how many times you go back there, no Pokemon can be recruited. It's a small 3-level dungeon. And 2 of those levels are just small 1-floored areas you explore. It's got like Pidgey, Rattata. That's about it. I think at one point there's like a Caterpie or Weedle. I don't remember. I just remember the Pidgey and Rattata. That's all I remember. I'm going to say it's like the 4th or 5th dungeon in is when you face your very first legendary Pokemon. It's all because one Pokemon drifted too far away during a windstorm or something. And Shifttree's team, which is like Shiftry and 2 Nuzleaf, can make some strong winds. So these Jumpluff were like, oh please, go save our friend and help him get out of there. Because of all these natural disasters going on, the legendary birds are kind of PO'd. That's the best way to put it. Anyone who enters their domains, like Thunder Mountain, where Zapdos is, gets attacked. They don't care whose fault it is, they just want people to find a way to put a stop to these disasters. And yeah, if Shiftry can't stop Zapdos, and your team's just starting out, and you stop Zapdos, you are somehow better than a higher ranking team, which embarrasses him. But he goes from, let me do this for this, to being more, I gotta be a lot better of a person, Pokemon or whatever. So he switches stuff around. Alakazam's team, which has Charizard and Tyranitar, and dear lord, are they the strongest team ever, decide, we're going to keep an eye on this one team. Gengar's team, Team Meanies, keep picking on you, thinking they can just get away with whatever. Because they've been picking on you since you became a rescue team. And you know what happens next? Some false allegations. I'm being very vague here because a lot of stuff happens. And I really want you all to play the game yourself. This is something that you need to experience yourself. I do not want to just jump in and say, oh, well, plot A in this story, then after plot A, there's plot B, plot C, and plot D through F happening all at once. No. These games, I'm gonna end this video here. These games, you need to experience yourself. While I highly recommend looking up answers to the questions if you're wanting to get a specific Pokemon to play as, I highly recommend going in blind. That is why I'm not going too far in depth with the games. Check back a week after when this goes up, whenever I can get it up. I'm just going to do like a brief overview of the Explorer games. I may just focus on Explorers of Sky, because it's essentially a combination of Explorers of Time and Darkness. And it goes over some extra stuff too. But yeah. See you all then. And thank you for watching.